went on Match.com, and I made it very clear in my profile that I was only interested in dating Christian men. But even saying that can be challenging because there are a lot of people who wear the label of Christian but don't carry a cross.
Right.
And so it was important to me to make sure that I found someone with the title as well as the actions that go along with it.
And I'm so glad I have this opportunity to drill you and ask you anything I've never asked you before.
So, now that I'm the one sitting here, it feels like therapy.
I found Will.
Okay.
Yeah. One of his photos had the bucket list of places that he would like to visit, and the number one was Machu Picchu. And I had just returned from a trip from Peru, and I had hiked the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. And so I sent him a message and I said, number one on your bucket list, I just did that.
Literally the message was just number one off your list, something like that. And so I was like, okay, so I check out her profile, and it's like the description is like all the right kind of things that I'm looking for, right? On fire for God, looking for a godly man. And then I look at the photos, and the weird thing about her photos were in every photo she looked like somebody else. Her hair was long, or it was short, or is it different color, or she is wearing a lot of makeup, or she is wearing no makeup. So I wasn't quite sure what in fact she'd actually turn out to be, right?
It was a combination of the words in the profile along with the photos. And the photos at first glance, when you just swipe across the photos, you couldn't see all of the words that he had put on the photos. But when you open them in the full screen, one of them that was hidden from the original view said, "Me with the youth." And so it became evident that not only did he go to church, but he was involved in the church, and he was interested in the youth. But in his profile, he also made it very clear that he was interested in dating a Christian woman.
You guys chatted for a while over the internet, maybe FaceTime each other, I don't know.
Well, I think chatted is a bit of a stretch. Will, and probably for the first 3 months that we dated, he really doesn't have a lot of back and forth dialogue. It was, when we were on Match, it was one message a day. He would send me one message a day, and I would reply, and then I would wait 24 hours for a reply. But after a week, we decided to meet in person.
So I ended up being late because I hit a lot of traffic. So I was just texting her as I was making my way there, you know, hey, sorry I'm late. And she was like, no problem, it's fine. Unfortunately, she brought a book with her, so.
Scared?
I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was nervous. I was hopeful, but nervous.
Yeah. And how did that conversation go? Being that Will was very one word a week, day.
Yeah. Yeah, that carried over into our conversation, but I'm full of words, so I just used all the ones I had.
So I finally get there, and I walk in, and I see her sitting at a table by a window. She had her book in front of her. She stood up right away to greet me. And, you know, the first thoughts that ran through my head were, okay, wow, you know, she really is a beautiful woman. Because like I said, I wasn't, she looked like so many different people in her photos.
Yes.
I wasn't sure who I was gonna meet that day. But I was struck by how pretty she was, and then how tall she was. I knew, you know, how tall she was by her profile, but just the fact that when she stood up and we were eye to eye, that was nice. I think we just kind of did the awkward hug. Right? But when we did that, I was struck by her perfume, which was like, it smelled like the ocean. And I said that to her, hey, oh, you smell like the ocean, I love that. And then I think that the next thing I said to her was, I really have to pee.
You've been stuck in traffic.
Right. You know, from my point of view, we hit it off because first dates can be awkward, and you can have those moments where you're just like, you know, what are we gonna talk about next? But in this case, you know, we were just going from one thing to the next, and the date kept going longer and longer.
I knew after the first meeting that I was going to marry him. I wasn't picturing myself walk down the aisle or anything like that. It was a very almost serious thing that happened in my heart. And I remember I texted my friend Sharon and I said, you're gonna call me crazy, but I have to say this to somebody. So when it happens, I'll have at least told one person. And I let her know that I believed that this was the man that I was gonna marry. So when he proposed on Valentine's Day, and when we started thinking about a date to get married, I looked and we met on July 7th, 7/7, and then he proposed 7 months and 7 days later, which happened to be Valentine's Day. And so I looked at calendar and I just said, I wonder what 7 months and 7 days would be from Valentine's Day. And it ended up being September 21st, which was a Saturday. So we decided to have the ceremony on that day.
I built up walls like mansions to the sky. Protect my heart so it would survive. But you climbed in like no one else could do. The day I knew I needed you, I was drifting out, safe from any shore. Didn't want to get hurt anymore, but you pulled me in like no one else could do. The day I knew I needed you, I was complicated, you made perfect sense. I was slowly breaking, but you knew how to mend. We're searching for some answers, who I was and where I'm running to. I was looking for me when I found you. When I found you. When I found. Felt familiar the moment that we met.
Love is
Tried
patient.
to block it out
Love is
so
kind.
I forget.
It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always perseveres. Love does not fail.
I was working on a movie, and there's a part in the movie where this couple, they're dating, and the guy reads her this poem. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh man, this poem is perfect. Like, I just thought of her and I instantly.
I'd like to be a nest if you were a little bird. I'd like to be a scarf if you were a neck and were cold. This is gonna be tough. If I were a peach, you'd be a tree. And if you were a tree, I'd be your sap. And I'd course through your arms like blood. And if I were blood, I'd live in your heart
For me, one of the parts of my vows was to always acknowledge the 1%. A good way of putting it is that the men have 51% authority and women have 49%. And that's not a difficult 1% to give up, because with the authority comes a lot of responsibility.
The evidence of God's great love stands before me today. I vow to fiercely love you, to respect and honor you, and to always acknowledge the 1%.
And now, by the power vested in me, by the state of California, and by God, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride.
That was a great moment, you know. You may now kiss the bride, and then we played the music, and then we walked off stage. And I think that there was relief there, just, all right, we've got this done. Now it's on to the next thing.
I got you.
All right, we're moving on to question number 2. Boy, I know, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Let's go.
So this, for me, this was maybe the most memorable part of the reception. When you got the crowd riled up right into it, and then they all stood up and they were all cheering, and we walked in, you know, and that was really memorable to me, just like, because I felt like, here's the love, you know, of everyone.
Lord, we thank you for your timing, because this relation took 40 years, but it wouldn't have worked one day sooner. Lord, we thank you for your faithfulness, because when all hope was lost, answered prayer.
We were hanging around, always looking to doubt it a little.
From the first time I met Toni, I could see Will was smitten with her. By the way, he couldn't keep his darn hands off of her. Back rubs, hugging, giggling, staring into each other's eyes. Whenever they would disappear for a moment, one of us would ask, wait, where did Will and Toni go? And someone would spot them standing underneath a tree and say, lovebirds are over there smooching again.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea. I'm one of Toni's best friends. They told me Mason wasn't funny, so... So then, they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no man separate. And if everyone wants to raise their glasses, I do not have one. But let's toast to Mr. and Mrs. Motomura.
Couple number 4. What was the last good deed your husband did for you? What would she say?
I washed her shoes this morning.
He married me! What's her name?
I'm gonna say the first woman that he loved would be Brenda Motomura.
Mom! Good answer! Good answer! He should be winner for that one.
But everything's real. If you don't believe in fairy tales, if you don't believe in fairy tales, if you don't believe in fairy tales, do love.
When he told us about Toni-Joy and their first date, as everybody knows how well that went, we knew that Will had met somebody very special. And it was from that moment that we knew Will let us know that this is going to be the one for him. And we can't be any more prouder than you. We're so happy for you. May God bless your home, your family, and we just hope the best for you. Good luck. And that's it.
And as Tori said, I've known these guys for roughly 35 years. Been friends. About 28 of them have been pleasurable. But I can honestly say that I've never seen Will with anyone the way that he is with Toni-Joy. And so I know that my brother Will has fulfilled my own wish for him, and that's finding his happiness. So this cake, I think, yep, that's over there, that they're hopefully about to smash in each other's faces, because we all know how much Toni-Joy would love that. It's more than just a mere dessert, but really it's the sweetness of the life that they're about to build together. So, you know, with all my heart, wish you guys congratulations. Salute.
It was just a lot of love from a lot of different people, and we really couldn't have done it without them. It wouldn't have been as nice without them or as fun.
So many people like yourself, you know, they were there celebrating with us, but they were also helping us, and they gave us a gift too, and it was like, you know, so it was like love upon love upon love. And so I want to thank those people even now. Thank you.
Okay.
When we were 15. When we were 15, I remember car rides, small fights, conversations all night. I never saw you as anything more than a friend, but now I see you in a new light. We're getting older, there's a sparkle in your eyes that wasn't there before. You give me butterflies, it makes me want to believe there could be something more. We were kids when we first met. Now let's discover why we haven't yet. I don't wanna wonder what could have been. So baby, take my hand and let my love in.
So on September 21st, what everybody saw, what everybody witnessed was actually Will and I renewing our vows. We decided to help take the stress out of the day and make the paperwork easier and everything like that. We actually went to the courthouse, and instead of getting our marriage license, we just got married that day.